Hello, welcome to Finance Sister. This is my YouTube channel where we talk about money, how to use your money in order to achieve your financial goals. So in this video, we're going to go line by line on how to budget on a $100,000 household income. And it's going to be specific to Portland, Oregon, since it's a higher cost of living area. That's where I live. And I want to give a better breakdown in terms of the percentage of your income that should be allocated towards housing, transportation, lifestyle, food, saving and investing, everything like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so this is budgeting on a $100,000 annual income, and I am assuming for this budget that it's a two adult household income, so that you'd be filing as married. I did a quick calculation over here. Again, this is just an estimate. If you are single or head of household or other filing status, then your tax bracket is going to look a little different and deductions, but for this scenario, I'm assuming that you are in a 22% tax bracket for federal income tax or federal tax and 9% for Oregon state income tax, because that's what it is for Oregon. So even though you make $100,000, your actual take-home pay after taxes is $69,000, or roughly around there. If you get paid twice per month, like once on the 1st and on the 15th of every month, then you get paid 24 times in a year, right? So your actual take-home pay would be $5,750. But if you get paid every other week, that means that you're actually getting 26 paychecks per year, and so you would be getting a bonus paycheck approximately 3 times per year. So your actual take-home income per month would be $5,300, except for those bonus paycheck months. Okay, just something to think about when you're making your budget. So the total income, $5,750 right here. This number needs to match your total expenses and money that you are choosing to put towards saving and investing. So that number should be the same. That's what we call an zero-based budget, is when all of your expenses and the money that you're choosing to put towards saving or investing is the same as your take-home pay. That means that every dollar is accounted for. It has a place. It has somewhere that you have decided this is what I'm going to spend my money on, and no dollars left behind. That's what the zero-based budget means. Okay, so $575 for charitable giving would be 10%. If charitable giving doesn't apply to you, that's totally fine. Just put that back into your budget. And but for evangelical Christians, of people of faith, if that's a priority to you, then that would be 10% of your take-home pay. Going down to housing and rent, I'm assuming that if you make $100,000 as take-home pay, that you are probably a homeowner. But regardless, there's a lot of places to rent for $1,800, but there's also mortgages that you can get on a 30-year for $1,800, a little bit on the low side. So even though Dave Ramsey and many people, including myself, would say I recommend doing 25% or less of your take-home pay towards your housing, specifically your rent or mortgage, that is not always realistic. And I want this budget to be as realistic as possible for you to be able to see what you can realistically stick to when you do make your budget. So I'm saying that 31% is actually going towards the average person's housing costs in Portland, Oregon. So these are averages for the rest of the housing. Wi-Fi, $65, water, $80, electric, $100, garbage, $30, home insurance, that's factored into your mortgage, If you are renting, then it would be approximately $20 to $30 for rental insurance. And I am a licensed insurance producer, so that was a fairly common estimate that I would get when quoting people, was about $20 to $30 for renter's insurance. Transportation, this is assuming that you don't have a long commute, $250 since gas is currently at around $3.10 a gallon. And car insurance, $120, again, assuming that you don't have an extremely expensive car that would cause your insurance to go up. Groceries, so food, this whole category, food is where a lot of people can save a good amount of money or spend a lot of money. And if this doesn't apply to you for if you don't have any consumer debt, when we start going through the rest of these numbers, it's not going to be as applicable, but the next spreadsheet that I do is going to include some estimates if you don't have any debt. So that is something that you can just skip to if that's more applicable. But all these numbers are the same. So $400 towards groceries. This is assuming that there's 2 people or a small family, which you might think that is definitely not enough. I promise you, if you shop at places like Winco Grocery Outlet, and try to stay away from places like New Seasons, high-end markets that are very convenient and look great on the inside, those places are just a lot more expensive. And if unless you have food allergies or you're an extreme foodie, if that's a priority to you, then maybe you cut in other areas. But $400 for groceries is not, it's definitely doable. Eating out, $80. This is if you are paying off debt. So again, the more aggressive you are with cutting these expenses, the faster that you can get out of debt. And that's the goal. Okay, so again, 2 people, personal fund for each. My husband and I do this. We currently actually allow ourselves $80 a month. And that means anything that we want personally for ourselves, including haircuts, clothes, if we go out to coffee with someone or go out for a drink and it's not with the other person, we say that that's a part of our personal fund. And again, I know that does not sound like very much, especially for a month, but you can get creative. And again, it's just for a short time while you're paying off debt. Cell phone bill, $80 for 2 phones. Netflix, $15, since that's pretty much a given that people in Portland, Oregon are going to have Hulu or Netflix just because it rains a lot here. It's gray. We kind of have to get through the November through February months. Entertainment, $50. Gifts, other giving, that would be for like birthdays, bridal showers, weddings, bachelor parties, those kinds of things. But it does not include Christmas gifts. That's actually a separate item, since most people like to spend a little bit more on Christmas than just a smaller budget of $40 a month. Miscellaneous, $50. This is kind of a catch-all for things that you don't remember, because that will happen when you budget, and that's okay. But you could also use this line for things that you don't buy every month that are pretty small, like household items, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. Or you can just create another line item, but that's what we have for our budget, just because we can definitely make $50 go a long ways with stuff like that. Okay, so as you can see, that leaves you with putting 67% of your take-home pay towards daily living costs, which means that 32% of your income can be put towards debt, which is great. I think a great rule of thumb is to live on less than 70% of your take-home pay, so that you have margin to be able to put money towards, if it's debt, if that's what you have, or if you're out of debt, you can put that towards saving, investing, vacation, enjoying your money, and being more generous. So here we have, I am assuming that you have a car payment, a student loan, and a credit card. Obviously, you can switch these around when you're doing your budget, but $350 for a car payment, $205 for a student loan payment. Those are just minimums. And then if you have a credit card, usually credit cards are your highest interest rate and it's usually people's lowest loan amount. So I would encourage you to just knock that out as quickly as possible. The average credit card interest rate for 2019 right now is 17%. So the faster you can just knock that out, the better. Okay, now let's move over to if you don't have any debt. There we go. Okay. No debt. Okay, so all the things are the same as the previous spreadsheet up here with your income, all of the charitable giving, housing, transportation is the same. It changes a little bit when we get to the food. Oops. Okay. So groceries, we upped it a little bit. Oh, actually, no, I kept it the same. I upped eating out for when you're out of debt, just to give you more wiggle room, be able to enjoy that aspect of living in Portland a little bit more if that's a priority to you. And then we upped the personal funds, and then also a little bit more in entertainment and miscellaneous for just being a little bit more spontaneous with how you choose to use your money. But again, here we're still living on right around 70% of your income, which still gives you a lot of margin. So as you can see, the total outgo is $5,750, and that matches your total take-home pay of $5,750. If you have any questions on this video, please comment below. I'd love to help or answer anything that I can. Thanks so much for watching. So I hope that was helpful, really good information. Let me know where, if you live in Portland, what suburb of Portland. I'm really curious to know exactly what you pay in rent, if it's rent or a mortgage. And if you live in some other state, comment below with what your rent or mortgage payment is per month.